Ina Tsvetkova. Your post is cool, but is it accessible and inclusive? Ali Camp. Gold sponsors ANZ, Intopia and Telstra. Silver sponsors Canva and Coles. Supporters Rumour, the design recruiter.
Hello, can you hear me? Okay. First I want to say I'm sorry about my voice. I think that I've got something like Melbourne spring allergy, which is quite unique for me, having a spring in the end of October. So I'll do my best to talk clearly. So my name is Radostina Tsvetkova. I use Ina as a short name, and I work as a senior advisor in digital accessibility and inclusive design in NAV, which is Norwegian Directorate of Labour and Welfare. And I think I need this. Or yes. Please know that the following opinions are my own and not the opinions of my employer. So, everyone liked your post except those who couldn't see it, couldn't hear it, and couldn't understand it. You create social media content to reach people. But what if your post is unintentionally excluding millions? Because people have diverse abilities, skills, preferences, emotions, expectations, challenges, tools, and disabilities. And we need to understand that disabilities come in many forms. They could be visual, as blindness, low vision, color blindness. They could be auditory, as deafness and hard of hearing. They could be cognitive, as learning differences, ADHD, dyslexia. Also, limited mobility or speech with communication difficulties. And these disabilities could influence how the people interact with your social media content. But accessibility isn't just about disability. It's also about reality. Whether it is temporary injury as a broken wrist, a noisy environment as in a loud cafe, or just feeling overwhelmed at the end of the day. And I really like the Microsoft Inclusive Design Kit, which shows how designing for permanent disabilities helps temporary and situational limitations too. Because captions help in noisy environments, high contrast helps in bright sunlight, and clear writing helps when we are tired or distracted. So you can make a difference. And the best part, you don't need to be a tech expert to do this. And before I continue, I will ask you something. Who will write a social media post about how great Ali Camp has been? Yeah, and I think it will be interesting to hear the next tips about. So, social media post components, what usually we have? We have text, we have images, we have colors, video, audio, links, hashtags, and emojis, and sometimes a lot of emojis. And clear writing is the foundation of accessible content. It helps people with cognitive disabilities, non-native speakers, and honestly, everyone who is scrolling quickly through their feed. And clear writing is better content. So what we can do, we could write in plain language, we can use short sentences and paragraphs, don't write large blocks of text, organize for clarity, use bullets and spacing, avoid jargon, and prefer active voice. And use standard readable fonts. And I know fancy fonts, they look really cool and they are trendy, but they rely on special characters which are not accessible to screen reader users. Also, don't use letter spacing characters because screen readers read each letter individually, which is annoying and confusing. Don't use upside down text, just use regular text. Your message will be stronger and reach more people. So people scan social media content, and good structure helps everyone find the information they need quickly, especially users with cognitive disabilities or attention differences. So what we can do? We can use bullet points instead of long paragraphs. We can add white space between sections. We can use headings to break up content. We can keep sentences under 20 words when possible. And we can have one idea per paragraph. Images. So what we can do, or what is important about them? We need to have alternative text and image descriptions. We need to skip unnecessary details, and we need to be objective and descriptive. And think of alternative text as a storytelling for someone who can see the image and focus on the purpose of the image in your post. And you can ask, what is this image meant to do? Include who, what, where, when, why, if relevant. Describe information, not aesthetics. Skip image of or photo of. Keep it concise but complete. And multi-image posts need alternative text for each image. Charts or maps need a brief summary in alternative text and a link to a full description. So what about AI and alternative text? Using AI tools wisely, because now many platforms auto-generate alternative text. But AI descriptions are a starting point, not the finish line. Always review and edit AI-generated descriptions and add context that AI misses. And remember, AI can help, but it doesn't understand the purpose of your image in your specific post. So always edit AI-generated alternative text to make it more meaningful and accurate. text and images. We need to have enough color contrast between the text and the background. We need to have readable font size and font style. And it's good to write out the text in the post. But why it's problematic? Screen readers can't read text that is part of an image. And also text becomes pixelated when zoomed, which users who are low vision can usually do. It can be text in images can be translated by browser tools, and also it has poor search engine optimization value. So if you must use text in images, always repeat that text in your post. So some color contrast basics. We have the WCAG requirements that are for normal text. We need to have 4.5 to 1 contrast ratio. For large text, 3 to 1 contrast ratio, and for non-text elements, 3 to 1 ratio. But good contrast isn't just for people with visual impairments. It helps everyone, especially when viewing content in bright sunlight or on older devices. And also, we need to consider color blindness, because around 8% of men and 0.5% of women have color vision differences. And that's why no information should be communicated through color alone. Use patterns, shapes, or text labels alongside color. And test with color blindness simulators. Video and audio. Use closed captions or provide transcripts for videos and podcasts. Avoid flashing lights. Use descriptive video narration when needed. Auto-playing videos can be disorienting, and it's important to provide a way to pause and control the video. And remember that captions aren't just for the deaf users. They are helpful in noisy places for non-native speakers or when you just need to focus. And GIFs and animated content. GIFs are popular, but they can create accessibility barriers. So we need to add alternative text describing both the action and the context. Also, avoid rapidly flashing content, more than 3 flashes per second. And consider people with vestibular disorders, because rapid motion can cause dizziness and nausea. And when possible, provide a static alternative. And here is something really important, because this is really critical one, about seizure and vestibular safety. Never include content that flashes more than 3 times per second. this can trigger seizures in people with photosensitive epilepsy. Provide warnings before autoplaying content with motion. And allow users to pause, stop, or hide animations. And when in doubt, use static images or very slow, smooth animations. So when your content depends on audio, like common scenarios, music-based trends, dance challenges, or sound effects, what we can do: describe the audio in your caption, video to the sound of, and give the song name, or add visual clues that match the audio, or use captions to show song lyrics or sound effects. Links. Avoid using click here. Use descriptive call to actions like sign up, try it for free, subscribe. Use a shortener, and the link text should make sense out of context, because screen reader users often navigate by links and hear them in a list. Hashtags. It's really important to use camel case. It improves understanding and readability for everyone. And when we use camel case, it is more likely a screen reader to understand that there are multiple words present in the hashtag. Separate hashtags from content and add them to the end of your post. Because in this way, screen reader users can hear the most interesting part of your message first, and then skip sometimes the long list of hashtags. And the last one, emojis. Use them with care. Avoid using them as bullet points or replacing words. Remember that assistive technologies can have problems with them, because screen readers read every single emoji. Yes, even every single emoji. So don't overdo it, and place them at the end. Stick to a max of 3 emojis per post. And one other thing, sometimes it's also difficult to distinguish these little faces or these little emojis for the low vision users. So let's keep max to 3. And what can you do today? Start small, be consistent, and keep learning. Accessibility is a habit and not a one-time fix. And you can make your next post more accessible, inclusive, and simply better for everyone. Thank you.
AliCamp, celebrating 10 years.